everyone, this is Lana Tabor and welcome to Altenew YouTube Hop for May of 2025 called Marker Magic. I will be using Golden Days foil plate. It is absolutely perfect for what I have in mind. And I also wanted to tell you that this beautiful plate comes with coordinating layering stencils, and you can also pair it with this beautiful stamp set that comes with coordinating dies. But today I am simply going to use just the foil plate. I have also pre-cut my card base here. The size of this card is 4x7, and this is a very unusual and different card size. Yes, I know, but I love this card size, and I have to give a big shout out to Tasneem, who first showed me this card size, and ever since then this has been on my favorite card size list. And this is to tell you not to skip on anyone on the Hop list, because there's a lot of cool tips and tricks that you can learn from every single Altenew educator. And last but not least, I will be using organic linen 3D embossing folder and Sweet Sentiments die set to complete my card today. So without further ado, let's get going. I am starting off with foiling. I'm using brush gold foil from Altenew, and the paper that I am using here is called Express It paper. This is a very smooth cardstock. It is not extremely heavy, and it is especially designed for alcohol marker blending. If you do not have this type of paper, I suggest you use Hammermill cardstock that is also perfect for blending with alcohol markers. I like to secure my foil plates with some washi tape directly on the paper. This will ensure that the foil plate does not move while I'm putting it through my die cutting machine. And I am simply going to put it directly on my foiling machine and wait for that to get heated. In the meantime, I grabbed a piece of orange and a piece of hot pink cardstock. This color combination is one of my absolute favorites, and I use it often. I also grabbed Altenew double-sided adhesive sheets, and this is going to help me create my background. I first cut the double-sided adhesive sheets to size, and then I'm going to trim the cardstock to 1¼ inch wide strips. And now the time has come to check on the foiling. I am gently going to peel off the tape. Please don't rush here because you could damage your cardstock. If you're having trouble with peeling off the tape, just heat it up with a heat gun a little bit and it should come off easily. Now let's reveal what's underneath. Oh, wow. Look how beautiful this is. A nice, smooth paper is key to perfect foiling, and this trick simply never fails. Next, I'm going to grab my cut piece of double-sided adhesive sheet, and I'm going to arrange my strips directly on it. Once the panel is completely covered with orange and pink strips, I simply trimmed off the excess paper and made this panel so nice and beautiful. So the next step is peeling off the backing of that panel and attaching it to the card base. This will make the panel sturdier as well as better for dry embossing. For dry embossing, I'm using organic linen embossing folder. And when you are dry embossing a paper or a card panel that is bigger than the actual embossing folder, remember to do partial embossing. This will eliminate harsh lines on your project and you will have a beautiful continuous look. And please try not to be like me. Please learn from my mistake here. I should have left my beautiful panel alone when I had a chance, because embossing creating space between the little strips, and I will try to cover this later on, but this will show you that if you do the same technique as I did here, you might face the same issues. Now look at this beautiful array of colors in front of me. Now I won't be using all of them, but only a few and very specific markers. I'm using red sunset alcohol markers. Next I'm going to use only purples from Mediterranean Terrace Garden set. Then I am going to use oranges from the Tropical Garden set. And lastly, I'm going to use only pinks from the Sunshine Valley Garden set. And off I go with coloring. So honestly, there really is no rhyme or reason why I started coloring the way I did. I guess I wanted to see how these markers blend with each other and to see how they are going to react with each other and to see if I could get a different look. So I started mixing colors, and as you can see it here, I mixed reds and oranges. And yes, you can definitely mix these two shades. Absolutely, you will get this beautiful burnt orange. But at some point, what ended up happening is you're going to see here, I picked this very dark shade of red, which created even more mess for me. So I tried to salvage this petal by adding and blending with more of that red, which of course darkened my petal. Now, if this is the look that you're going for, by all means do it. It's absolutely beautiful, no doubt about it. It's just that my petal ended up looking more red than orange. I wanted that orange look, but I got red. So beware of this fact when you are mixing colors, because you might end up with much deeper shades than you originally planned to. I really like that seamless look where you go from dark to light, and it took a lot of back and forth for me to achieve that look. So again, if this is not what you are used to and don't want to do, please be careful and watch what kind of colors you're doing. I would suggest to try blending some of your colors on a piece of paper aside from your project and see if you like that blending. If you do, by all means, continue. Now, here I started experimenting with reds and purples. I started off with a dark red and wanted to blend that color with light red. And then the idea was to go from light red to purple or light purple and then finish it up with dark purple. Now, in theory, that does sound pretty awesome, but in practice, well, guess what? I was not as successful as I thought that I was going to be. So the same thing happened. I ended up coloring and blending and trying to get that seamless look, which again resulted in a very dark petal. So from that moment on, I decided to stick what is familiar and to what I actually know, and that is to use the markers from the same color family. For all of you who are not familiar with blending with alcohol markers, the easiest and the safest bet that you can have is to color from darkest to the lightest or reverse. This will require you a lot of back and forth blending, and that is actually what you need to do in order to achieve that seamless gradient look. And once again, I want to point out, when it comes to coloring with alcohol markers, for best results, you need to use a very smooth cardstock. And as previously mentioned, the one that I am using here is called Express It cardstock, especially designed with alcohol markers in mind. Aside from this cardstock, I also recommend Hammermill 100-pound smooth cardstock or Nina Classic Crest Solar White 110-pound cardstock. These three are truly my personal favorites. And if you have your favorite cardstock that you like to use in your crafts, please let me know in the comments. I am really interested in trying some new cardstocks, especially if they are less expensive than the ones that I am using. And now back to coloring. The reason why I didn't want to take any more risks with this flower is because I really liked how perfectly foiled it is, and I simply didn't want to waste it. I have to admit that I was tempted more than once to actually give up on this project, but whenever I took this beautifully foiled flower, it just encouraged me to try again and to simply carry on. As one of my teachers from college used to say, you gotta trust the process. Well, I guess college was not a complete waste of time. I'm just kidding, of course. Now, I wanted to explain what is that I'm actually doing here. So I picked pinks, oranges, purples, and reds for a reason. I wanted to create a very bright and vibrant card, and I wanted for this flower to have each and every petal colored differently. That is why I wanted to experiment with using different color family markers together. And I think for that specific look to work, I need to have an in-between color. This is going to be a project for some other time because I'm definitely curious to find a solution to what I have in mind. Now, I wanted to take this opportunity to let you know that Altenew is giving away $120 in total prizes. They're giving away 3 $20 gift certificates to their store and 4 $15 gift certificates. Please make sure to leave a comment on each stop for a chance to win, and please give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to follow, and that is if you haven't already. And please do this at every hop. Each and every one of us educators will appreciate a little TLC. Help us grow our community, and that will help us create more content and bring this beautiful world of crafting closer to you. And for the sake of this already long video, I fussy cut my flower off camera, and now I'm adding some gold to the edges of the flower. I'm using a gold metallic marker, which is a part of the set called Essential Permanent Markers, and they are one of the newest releases from Altenew. They actually got released in March. You can use these markers for a lot of projects, such as this one, and I mostly use them for wax seals, which is something I love creating. All that I'm doing here is adding the gold paint all over the edges of the flower, making sure the white edges are completely covered. This is also good if you cut too much of that foil, so you can color it in with the marker and make the edges look even. Simple, quick, and easy. And my flower is done. And this is the final element I'm going to need for this card, and that is the sentiment. Again, I am using the Sweet Sentiments die set, and I'm going to cut it several times so I could layer the pieces on top of each other later on. I cut the first layer in white using leftover paper, and I will color it with some gold marker I used to color the edges of the flower. Once I'm done with that, the rest of my layers I am going to cut with pink and orange cardstock that was left over from the background. Now this is good for several reasons. First, the sentiments are so intricate that it's easier to layer them on top of each other instead of using a foam tape. Second, you get to use your paper scraps. And lastly, I wanted this sentiment to have a little bit more of that interest by adding orange and pink, so it looks very cool when you look from the sides. I would like to mention that for die cutting, I'm using the phenomenal Mini Blossom die cutting machine. Now, I do have to admit that this is the most used tool in my craft room. It is compact and sturdy, and it is next to me, ready to be used in any given minute. This little guy saved me so much time crafting that it's so hard to imagine my crafting day without it. And at the end, as you can see, I put together all these little pieces together and turned them into a very nice sentiment. I am going to continue next with the assembly. So I already cut the flower into small little pieces here, and I honestly at this point didn't know where I was heading with this card. I was not entirely happy with the way I trimmed that flower, but I just wanted to keep on going. I puzzled those pieces back in, tried to find some kind of sense to it, and at the end, it really turned out to be a good project. Again, going back to the same thing that my teacher said, you gotta trust the process. And the last thing was attaching the sentiment, and this sentiment looks amazing. I really love that extra effort I put into creating that sentiment. And here is the finished card. It's a very colorful, it's so bright, and look at the sentiment. You can see that orange and pink there, and I think it looks fabulous. It gives that little extra attention to detail. So that's it for today, my friends. Thank you so much for being here, for for following Altenew Hops and Altenew Educators. Everything I use today is listed below. Feel free to use my affiliate links, and please don't forget to hop along and leave a comment for a chance to win a gift card from Altenew. Thank you again for being here, and I will see you soon with something new. Bye-bye.